Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on, well, an extraordinary journey, really. It's a deep exploration into some incredibly rich sources.
That's right.
We're talking ancient Indian texts, uh, profound philosophical traditions, and insights gleaned from historical figures.
A huge range of material.
Exactly. And our mission here is to extract that timeless ethical wisdom, maybe uncover some surprising truths, and explore how relevant they really are to our lives right now.
hmm
It's about giving you, our listener, a kind of shortcut to being genuinely well-informed on some remarkably insightful ideas.
And it's truly a compelling deep dive we've got lined up. These aren't just, historical artifacts or abstract philosophical concepts collecting dust somewhere.
Not at all.
What's so striking here, I think, is how these traditions, spanning millennia, offer incredibly practical frameworks. They give you deep insights for navigating everything from, say, the most complex modern dilemmas in your job to really personal challenges and that whole journey of self-discovery. The material is remarkably diverse, yeah, but it consistently points towards pathways for a more, well, meaningful existence.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. Where do we start? Maybe with a principle that feels so fundamental. It just echoes across countless traditions and, frankly, across all human experience.
You mean the idea of do not do unto others which you cannot be done by?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
It seems simple on the surface, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But how does this ancient idea truly resonate, in our daily lives?
Well, this ethical guideline, which you find prominently within texts like the Bhagavad Gita, it serves as a kind of universal compass for how we interact.
A compass, I like that.
Its simplicity actually masks a really profound implication. Every action you consider, every word you might say, if it would cause you discomfort or pain if someone did it to you, then it's probably an action to avoid. And this isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about actively cultivating harmonious relationships by projecting the respect and consideration you'd want for yourself. It establishes a baseline for moral conduct that's just immediately understandable and, well, applicable.
That makes profound sense. And leading sort of directly from that, our sources introduce this really powerful concept, intrinsic humanness, sometimes called Swabhav.
Ah, yes, Swabha.
This idea that each of us has an inner voice,
Wow.
right? A guiding light, a moral compass, you could say. So what happens then when we consistently choose to act against this innate inner nature? These texts suggest it leads to, well, deep feelings of guilt and this persistent discomfort.
Precisely. And if we dig into this a bit more, adhering to your Swabha isn't just about avoiding, fleeting guilt. It's the very bedrock of maintaining integrity.
The bedrock. Yeah.
Imagine, for instance, a public servant. Someone known for being upright and honest. Now, if a senior pressures them to do something unethical, maybe bend the rules for a personal favor. The internal conflict would be immense, right? The text suggests that consistently ignoring this inner calling doesn't just create momentary unease, it gradually erodes your sense of self, your agency.
It chips away at you.
Exactly. So the path to inner peace and sustained authenticity, especially when you're facing those external pressures or tough choices, is really about aligning your actions with that intrinsic humanness. It's ensuring your external behavior mirrors your internal moral truth, basically preventing a kind of profound internal fracture.
And the Mahabharata takes this even further, doesn't it? It draws this crucial link between our thoughts, our values, and then our behavior. It teaches that positive values tend to foster positive thoughts, which then naturally lead to positive behavior. It's like a chain reaction, for better or worse.
It is like a continuous feedback loop between these internal and external parts of who we are.
Right.
And this raises a critical question these texts really grapple with. What happens when you have immense knowledge, loads of intelligence, but those foundational values are missing? Or maybe they've become corrupted.
Oh, that's interesting.
Our sources use really potent examples, like the characters of Ravana or Duryodhana.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, these figures had vast intellect, strategic brilliance even, yet their corrupt values, things like ego, greed, envy, they led to negative thought patterns and ultimately profoundly destructive behavior.
So knowledge isn't enough.
Not on its own, no. This underscores that external knowledge without that internal alignment, driven by sound values, can actually become a tool for harm. It's a powerful reminder that, cultivating your character internally is paramount, maybe even more so than just accumulating facts.
That leads us nicely to an idea that I think often challenges modern thinking. Nishkam karma from the Bhagavad Gita.
Ah, yes, selfless action.
Right. Selfless action or detached involvement. The idea of doing your duty without being attached to the outcome. It's about the action itself, not what you get from it. How does this sort of liberate us in a world so focused on results? Well, this is a truly transformative concept, I think, especially when you contrast it with Sakam karma, where the focus is entirely on the results, the reward.
Right, the opposite.
Nishkam karma suggests that too much worry about success can actually hinder true perfection. Think about an artist or a scientist. If their entire focus is on selling their art or winning that Nobel Prize.
Yeah, the pressure.
Exactly. The pressure can stifle creativity. It can stifle rigorous inquiry. Nishkam karma encourages you to immerse yourself fully in the process, the effort, the learning, the hard work, just for its own sake.
Focus on the doing.
Right. Dedicate yourself to mastery, not just chasing external recognition or reward. And the liberation comes from reducing that anxiety about results. It lets you pour all your energy into the task itself, which often leads to higher quality work and a deeper sense of fulfillment, regardless of external validation.
That's quite powerful.
And, just broadening out slightly, in terms of ethical conduct, Islamic ethics offers the standard of akhlaq.
Clock, okay.
This concept emphasizes that true ethical conduct isn't merely about performing good deeds, but also about the intention behind them. It requires both positive intentions and actions that align with a higher moral framework.
So both are needed.
As our sources state, good intentions and good deeds must go hand in hand. You really can't have one without the other for genuinely ethical behavior. It speaks to a kind of holistic approach to morality, where your inner state is just as crucial as what you do outwardly.
Okay, changing focus a bit now.
Sure.
How do these ancient texts help us grapple with concepts like loyalty, especially in leadership roles? The Mahabharata gives us some fascinating, though sometimes, troubling examples of how loyalty can get complicated.
It really does. Characters like Bhishma Pitama and Karna are prime illustrations.
I remember them.
Their loyalty, say, to a king or a friend, was absolute, unwavering, even when those figures were pursuing unjust paths. Yet our sources reveal that this steadfast loyalty, while maybe admirable in its personal devotion, was ultimately deemed flawed. Even corrupt, as one source puts it, because it failed to serve the larger public interest or a higher moral truth.
Wow, corrupt loyalty.
Yeah. And this raises a crucial question for anyone in a position of public trust today, doesn't it? For a public servant, the texts imply, the highest loyalty should always be towards the public interest. Then maybe the organization, and only lastly, personal interest. That hierarchy is essential to prevent conflicts and ensure ethical governance.
That really reframes how we might think about loyalty in our own lives, too. And what about transparency? You mentioned Dronacharya earlier.
Right, Dronacharya.
He displayed incredible transparency, apparently even disclosing the means by which he could be defeated. That's a profound level of openness, especially in a time of war.
It absolutely is. His actions highlight that transparency, even when it makes you vulnerable, can serve a higher purpose, perhaps signaling a deeper commitment to certain values over, say, personal victory. But this leads us to a really nuanced concept, Ardha Satya, or half-truth, explored through Yudhishthira's story during the war.
The half-truth, right?
This narrative illuminates a crucial distinction that goes beyond just simple honesty. It shows how you can be factually truthful in your statements, yet still lack true integrity in your moral conduct.
How so?
Well, Yudhishthira spoke a truth. Ashwatthama is dead, but he deliberately omitted the crucial context that it was an elephant named Ashwatthama, not the warrior, specifically to gain a tactical advantage.
The intention.
Exactly. The texts prompt us to consider, does a truth uttered with the intention to deceive or to achieve an unjust end actually retain its ethical purity? It's a profound look at the internal moral state as much as the external words. It reminds us that integrity demands more than just factual accuracy. It requires alignment with moral purpose.
So, given these complex ethical dilemmas, loyalty versus public good, honesty versus integrity, what does this all mean for us, navigating today's often gray areas in business, politics, even just personal relationships?
Well, this brings us to what our sources discuss in terms of constitutional morality. Now, that term might sound modern, but the principle has ancient roots in these texts.
Constitutional morality.
Yeah. It suggests that when you're addressing complex dilemmas, solutions shouldn't be narrow or self-serving. They should be holistic, right? Addressing the concerns of various stakeholders and, most importantly, aligning with core universal principles that form the moral foundation of a just society.
Like a guiding framework.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about seeking solutions that are not just legally sound, perhaps, but ethically robust. It gives you a steadfast framework when you're navigating ambiguity and all those competing interests.
Okay, let's shift our attention now maybe towards personal growth and societal well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us face challenging times, right? Whether it's personal struggles or these broader global issues. What wisdom do these traditions offer on cultivating courage and perseverance?
Well, the Ramayana provides a really powerful and deeply moving example with Sita's fortitude.
Sita, yes.
Despite being held captive in Ashwatthika, facing immense uncertainty and suffering, she maintained her unwavering courage and hope. Her story is just a timeless testament to inner strength in adversity. It reminds us that true resilience really comes from within.
That inner source.
And it echoes a crucial teaching you find across these texts. Only the timid and weak leave things to destiny.
That's blunt.
It is, but it emphasizes that effort, dedication, active engagement are paramount over just passively relying on luck or fate for success. Particularly when you're pursuing significant goals. It's really a call to agency, not resignation.
That really resonates, especially today, I think. And speaking of strength, Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata demonstrates exceptional emotional intelligence.
Oh, absolutely.
It wasn't just understanding his own emotions, but crucially, his ability to understand and effectively manage the emotions of others, leading them towards constructive outcomes in these incredibly volatile situations.
Absolutely. His actions really underscore the transformative power of mastering emotions rather than being manipulated by them, both personally and, interpersonally.
Yeah.
And closely related to emotions, the Ramayana offers another profound insight. Attachment is the root cause of suffering.
The attachment piece. That comes up a lot.
It does, and the classic example is Sita's desire for the golden deer, a fleeting illusion, right? But it ultimately led to her abduction and immense pain. This narrative beautifully illustrates how uncontrolled desires and attachments, whether it's to possessions or outcomes, or even certain people in a possessive way, how they can lead to unforeseen difficulties and profound suffering. The texts are quite careful to differentiate between true love, which they see as expansive and liberating,
Right.
and that kind of binding attachment, which often leads to disappointment and limitation.
That's a really powerful and, I think, often misunderstood distinction. And building on that, the Ramayana also presents us with this profound call to action.
Yeah.
Do good deeds and put an end to demons within us.
Yeah.
It's not talking about external monsters, is it?
No, not at all. It's fundamentally about inner transformation.
Okay.
This is a call for continuous self-awareness and rigorous self-improvement. The demons are our own negative tendencies,
Right.
our greed, our anger, our ego, our prejudices.
The internal stuff.
Exactly. Our sources powerfully remind us of that insightful concept from Merlin Ferguson. The door of change can only be opened from within.
Right. I've heard that.
It means we hold the ultimate personal responsibility for our own transformation. It's about being acutely aware of your own triggers, your own vulnerabilities, and actively working to regulate your actions daily, rather than just expecting the world outside to change for you. It's an ongoing internal journey.
Okay, let's broaden our perspective now maybe to society as a whole. How do these diverse traditions speak to unity, understanding, and maybe resolving conflict in our really complex world?
Well, Jainism offers a fascinating concept called Anekantavada.
Anekantavada.
Yeah, it translates roughly to many-sidedness or relative pluralism. This concept is seen as foundational for conflict resolution because it emphasizes the necessity of considering multiple perspectives.
Seeing things from different angles.
Precisely. Think of that common visual analogy. One person sees a 6 from their side, while another sees a 9 from theirs. Both are entirely right from their limited viewpoint, aren't they? And only by genuinely trying to understand the other's perspective can the true picture emerge and the conflict potentially be resolved. It's really about cultivating intellectual humility and trying to step into someone else's shoes before passing judgment.
That feels incredibly relevant today.
And building on this idea of interconnectedness, the Rig Veda speaks profoundly of harmony and balance, highlighting the essential equilibrium between nature and humankind or society.
Harmony with nature.
This ancient wisdom has, striking relevance for modern issues like sustainable infrastructure development, the complexities of bioethics, animal welfare, and maybe most critically, climate change.
Absolutely.
It's an ancient call to respect all living beings in the natural world, urging us to consider the broader ecological and maybe spiritual impact of our actions, not just immediate human gain.
That's incredibly prescient, isn't it? A wisdom we desperately need today. And echoing that sentiment of interconnectedness, Sufism emphasizes oneness of being, which resonates so deeply with that ancient Indian principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, often translated as the world is one family.
Precisely. This concept transcends national or cultural boundaries, promoting a sense of universal brotherhood. And its implications for how we approach global issues today. I mean, from the tragic realities of wars and refugee crises to the horrors of genocide, they're profound.
Yeah.
It encourages us to dismantle those artificial divisions we create and see ourselves as part of a single, interconnected humanity where, the suffering of one is, in a sense, the suffering of all.
It's really powerful to see how these diverse traditions converge on these shared fundamental values. You mentioned the Bhakti movement, Sufi, and Sikh ethics. They all powerfully underscore the importance of no discrimination, advocating for radical inclusivity and equality.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a vital teaching, particularly when you think about addressing contemporary issues like entrenched social inequalities, gender discrimination, or the rights of marginalized communities.
Definitely.
It reinforces that every single individual, regardless of their background, their identity, their perceived status, deserves to be treated with inherent dignity and respect. And flowing naturally from this inclusivity is the idea of selfless service, known as seva in Sikhism, or altruistic acts in the Bhakti movement. It isn't just about doing an occasional good deed. It's described more as a continuous journey, a means to connect with a higher purpose through serving creation. It transforms the act of contribution from being about personal gain to more of a spiritual practice.
And building on that, Sikhism also stresses truthful living, the practice of actually integrating ethical principles into every aspect of your daily life, not just holding them as abstract beliefs somewhere in your head.
Exactly. It's about embodying integrity in every action, every decision, from the smallest to the largest. It means your outward conduct becomes a direct reflection of your inner values, ensuring consistency and authenticity.
That makes sense.
And if we connect this to another important principle, Jainism's concept of non-possession.
Non-possession, okay.
This advocates for a life not driven primarily by materialism or unending desires. Our sources actually highlight a critical observation here that contemporary society often seems to value materialistic prosperity above ethical means.
Sadly, yeah.
Non-possession stands in stark contrast. It suggests that true contentment and ethical purity often come from needing less, from detaching from that endless pursuit of external goods. And by doing so, you significantly reduce the temptation for ethical compromise.
Less wanting, less temptation.
In a way, yes. And finally, honest living and honest earning from Sikh ethics feels like a crucial foundational value, particularly applicable in contexts susceptible to corruption, whether that's in business or public life.
Very relevant.
It powerfully reinforces acting in line with one's intrinsic values, ensuring that the means by which you earn a living are as pure and ethical as the ends you hope to achieve. It helps prevent personal interest or the lure of gain from corrupting your duty or principles.
Wow. What an extraordinary deep dive this has been. The breadth and depth of wisdom we've uncovered from these ancient Indian traditions, it's truly remarkable.
It really is.
It's just astonishing how these insights from centuries ago still offer such profoundly practical guidance for modern life. It really is a powerful lens through which to view our own actions and the world around us. It reminds us, I think, that the path to being truly well-informed often starts with that thoughtful self-reflection and a deep understanding of foundational human values that seem to transcend time and culture.
Indeed. And these diverse sources, ultimately, they teach us that true knowledge isn't merely about accumulating facts, is it? It's about applying timeless wisdom to cultivate inner peace, to navigate those complex dilemmas, and to contribute, hopefully, to a more harmonious world.
Yeah.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. In your own life, how might a deeper understanding of your intrinsic nature, your swabhav, or perhaps the interconnectedness of all beings, how could that shift your perspective on daily challenges? How could it transform mere information into true insight, guiding your actions towards a more meaningful existence for yourself and, well, for those around you?
That's a wonderful thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive. We hope you take these profound concepts with you and reflect on their enduring power in your own life.